I've not finished that. We are still talking on how dominion is acquired. I've covered two aspects of it. I spoke about going out, launching out, and I spoke about association. Now, I still have three more factors to talk on. Recording in progress. Before we finish this, because this is important. I don't mind delivering two lectures on this particular topic. This is the main thing. Okay, this is where people are missing it. Okay, then I think when we come back, I will just address how dominion is lost. The process too, by just as it can be acquired, it can also be lost. And then we will look at that. But in the meantime, let's concentrate on it. So the number three factor in acquiring dominion, number three factor is service. Service. I'm happy that there are public servants here. I'm so happy that many of our members now, God is raising this movement by the grace of God. Okay, it's little. One day there will be a head of state from this movement. One day there will be a president of nation from this movement. Okay, now, but there is certain process that we need to understand, and that's why today I want to talk about service. The number three thing that is very, very crucial. The next factor for acquisition of dominion is service. Now, come with me again and let's look at three people. I spoke to you of three people in the Bible yesterday who attained to dominion. I spoke to you of Joseph. I mentioned Daniel and then Esther. If you study these three people, you see one underlying factor in all of them. And that's never, or what I would call Mordecai / Esther. And you will see one underlying factor. Service. Service. You then doing good and efficient service, faithful service, managing responsibility. You are giving a service, do it well. It is the root of dominion. You didn't know Jesus said, asked the disciples, he said, when I sent you out. So he sent them out, they came and gave him a report. He was impressed. They said, sir, even the demons were subject. So they used the authority he gave them. Where? Nobody used it to amass weight at that first time. Even Judas was not yet thinking about weight now. He was excited with this power. He sent them again the second time. The same report. Service. If you are going to control dominion, please, this one you mustn't miss it. Because this one really where we have been missing it. You must deliver service. You must acquit yourself of responsibility. You must silence. Who is that? I will send you out. You must acquit yourself diligently. The sad thing today in Nigeria is this. You cannot even tell the so-called Christian from unbeliever. Somebody says a Christian is a governor. Have you seen any difference between the so-called Christian governor and the Muslim governor? Do you see any difference? A so-called Christian was a registrar of JAM for several years. We saw the atrocity he did there. Financial wreckage that he robbed. A Muslim took over from him. And within 1 year, what he remitted to government caused the government to institute a probe. Where have all this money been going before? He's a professor. He calls himself a Christian. Listen, some of the members of your churches that have gone into public service, have they really distinguished themselves in public service? You can't get dominion like that. So in what way are you better? Dominion doesn't come like that. I will show you maybe from the Bible today. Now look at Joseph. Go back again to Genesis. Let's now look at the Bible. Look at Joseph. He started this distinguished service from his own father's house. When he fed the fathership with his other brethren, in Genesis 37, verse 1 to 2, the Bible says he fed the flock with his father's brethren. And he brought unto his father their evil report. That is responsibility. He did not keep quiet. The half of those people did. He said that brothers did. When they will see Amalek going, and they will take one or two or three goat and whatever and sell it and pocket the money, Joseph will report. Or why do you think Jacob loved him more than the others? That is part of service. Or when they will take one and slaughter it and roasted it and partner it among themselves, take it to their houses, Joseph will report. It's part of service. It's part of responsibility. When an assignment is given to you, do you discharge it irresponsibly? All these things matter. This is one area where we Christians in this nation we have also failed. How many Christians can you really point out that they left you got it in the assignment, who are in public service, that you can point out today with testimony that, yeah, that's a child of God. In those days, at the University of Ilorin, when I was there years ago, we had Professor Adeniyi, Professor of Community Health. And till today, go and ask people like Niyo Sundari, they still say that the kind of program that Ilorin had when Adeniyi was there was world class. That was a child of God. Beyond reproach. Service. That's the root of dominion. Joseph brought their evil report to his father. That's his beginning of his faithfulness in service, which will characterize Joseph in his entire life and career. He was totally incorruptible. If you will be a candidate for dominion, you cannot afford to compromise faithfulness in service. Listen to this equation. There are many scientists here, you understand. At least you are educated. Look at this equation. Service plus faithfulness equals dominion. S plus F equals D. Now, put that equation, number one, that's the first equation, one. There will be some other equation. Service plus faithfulness. You have been appointed to a service, great. You have been appointed to an office, great. Whether religious or whatever, everyone is watching. It's so sad today that if I myself am talking to you, one of my greatest regrets is that I have failed in some responsibilities in the past. And every time I think on those things, I'm ashamed. So I myself could be. I'm not saying I stole money. Please don't misunderstand. You know, there are different levels of failure. God can give you an assignment and you don't do it well. Or you don't do it as at when, get it. I just told you of my failure yesterday. I don't hide my own failure. When God sent me to deliver a message to the Oba of Lagos, and some important people here in this land. You see? Anytime you have an assignment, he want to give you dominion. But if you fail it, then it is that is how it is lost. So it's not just service, but service with a honored intention, with a honorable heart, and love. That is what brings dominion. That is what brings dominion. And soon, what happened? He was promoted. His father began to send him to go and see the welfare of his brethren and bring him report in his father's house. The father made him a coat of many colors in his father's house. He was already distinguished. Jacob now that he has at least one son who will tell him the truth, this true situation of what is going on. He knew that he had at least one person who will tell him how the matter went. And look at Joseph again in the Potiphar's house. In Genesis chapter 39 verse 4, he was also faithful in the house of his father. He was first of all found faithful in his father's house. And then he had to move on because he had reached the pinnacle in his father's house of faithfulness. Now, listen to me. A lot of time, what you think is demotion, it's not demotion, it's promotion. Because heaven does not see the way heart sees. Demotion is sometimes promotion. So when he was sold to Egypt, it looked like into slavery. It looked like demotion. It's promotion. He had attained the apogee of faithfulness in his father's of service. In his father's, so he has to move on to a higher level. Now, this is how the life journey is. What you think is demotion is not. In Egypt, Joseph found faithful. And he was promoted and he became a slave. First of all, as a servant. He was a servant in Potiphar's house. When he was faithful, the Bible says in verse 46, 4b, you will see that Genesis 39, that Potiphar made him overseer of his house. That's promotion. From slave to overseer. And finally, he became empty of that house. That the general Potiphar does not know anything that he has on that zone, except what Joseph. The only thing he does not control in that house was the wife of Potiphar. You can see promotion. Here, Joseph learned how to manage financial resources. Please note that. He was being tutored. At home, he had learned about human relations. Now he was learning about financial relations. How to manage financial resources. And when he had listened and learned everything he can learn in the house of Potiphar, he had to move on. So he went to the prison. Again, don't always judge with physical. What you call demotion is promotion. By the time he was leaving Potiphar, he said, there is none in this house that is greater than I. That's promotion. Somebody who came here as a slave. He was rising in the cadre of dominion. In the ladder of dominion, he was rising. You may think he was falling, but he was actually rising. You may think he was going down, but he actually was going up. Joseph demonstrated his service. First, don't forget, in his father's house. Secondly, in Potiphar's house, he managed things creditably. And his master was impressed with his service. Then, thirdly, now he went to prison. The third place where Joseph demonstrated was the prison. In verse 22, the Bible says Joseph became manager of men. He had learned how to manage resources in the house of Potiphar. Now he was managing men. He took charge of the prisoners. That is promotion. He became a leader in the prison. Now you can see 3 levels of faithfulness here. First, in his father's house. Second, in Potiphar's house. Third, in the prison. The overseer of the prison made Joseph overseer of other prisoners. That is to manage human resources. Potiphar made him overseer in his house. That is to manage financial resources. Because if you are going to get to dominion, to manage a whole nation, you must know how to manage human beings. You must have to manage financial resources. Human resources, financial resources. Three levels of responsibility: financial resources, human resources, relationship resources. And what was the reward? Dominion over all the land of Egypt. That is how it happens. Service, faithfulness, then dominion. Somebody was going to exile. That is a true story. He had resources, he had many houses, he had property. But during the Abiola struggle, or whatever, he had to go run for his life and went to exile. Now, a lawyer was managing all these things for him, his properties, and remitting all the money. And when he came back, this one gave him a thorough account of everything. And when that guy became governor, he made that same person his chief of staff. And after his tenure, he said, this chief of staff must be the next governor. He became governor. You may think that it is human being that is doing it, but sometimes this is how it works. Faithfulness in service. Look at Daniel. In Daniel chapter 1, we see somebody who proposed himself that he will not defile himself. Then in Daniel chapter 2 to 4, we saw his service. They were brought before the king. That's going to my first factor, going out. He went out. He demonstrated his talent. He demonstrated his skill as an interpreter of dreams. Nebuchadnezzar got to know him. Just as Pharaoh to got to know Joseph. I say your skill must be deployed. Somebody must know what you have. People outside must know what you have. Now, after Daniel was appointed, we saw his faithfulness. In Daniel chapter 6, verse 4, the people themselves testify that we will never get anything. We won't catch this guy. He's not going to steal money. Nothing will find us at him unless we trap him with his religion. Let me read Daniel chapter 6, verse 4 to you. Daniel chapter 6, verse 4. Then the president, no, let me start from verse 1. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these three presidents, of whom Daniel was number one first, that the princes might give account unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the president and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Verse 4. Then the president and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find no occasion, nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, please underline that word, faithful. He was faithful. Pastor Taiwo, check the waiting room. Some people might be waiting there so that you admit them. For he was faithful. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. He was not only entrusted with responsibility, he was faithful in the responsibility. He was faithful. Let us look at another man. Jacob. We saw yesterday how Jacob deceitfully got that dominion, that blessing. But even with all his deceit and his mother's deceit and robbing Esau of his blessing and everything, Jacob still have to suffer. He still have to serve for that dominion to come. Even after getting the blessing, even after getting the blessing, he must still serve. It is law. For him to contact dominion, finally, he must still have to serve. He must still render service. And he must render it faithfully. It's the law. You can get blessing by deception. And you can go somewhere, lay your hand on me. Hey, daddy, please pray. Hey, anointed man, no problem. But you still have to serve for dominion to come. You can't get dominion by deception. You have to labor for it. You have to exert yourself. You saw how many years Jacob served Laban? 20 years. So those two wives that he got, which were to be, because I told you if one of the factors of dominion, one of the factors of dominion is increase. One of the factors of dominion is fruitfulness. One of the factors of dominion is multiplication. You must multiply. You must be fruitful. So Jacob was building his own dominion. He served 7 years to get rich. He served another 7 to get Leah. And then 6 years for the cattle. And when he saw that the attitude of children of Laban was changing to him, when he saw that the attitude was changing, he quickly packed his thing and ran away. But let us understand that David said he served. He served with all his might. In the day and in the night, he was frostbitten and dew beaten. Dominion does not come. He was going to build another nation, a nation of power. Dominion does not come. It comes with tears. You have to labor. You have to serve. And he said to Laban, when Laban pursued, you know how all this year have served your father. He told the wives of the daughters of Laban, he said, you know how much all this year have served your father. With tears, with labor. We had labor. 20 years now. When will I now provide for when will I build my own dominion? I have served your father. When will I be entrusted with my own dominion? When will I not go on and make up for it? When will I provide for my own house of dominion? Marriage is a vehicle of dominion. I couldn't talk about that. Notice when God said, let us make man in our image and let them have dominion. He said, let them, not let him. Let them. So in the language of dominion, in God's process of dominion, a woman and a man was already incorporated. There is no such time. I will have talked about marriage, the place of marriage in dominion. God already incorporated the man and the woman together. Let them have dominion, not let him have dominion. And that was the reason why after Jacob received the blessing, Isaac quickly called him, said, don't marry here. Because marriage is crucial for a man who will operate in dominion. A woman may marry any man, but the man of dominion cannot marry any woman. He has to be careful the kind of woman he marries. He says, so go to my father's house for this blessing to sub. Go to my father's house. Go and pick wife. Don't marry among the children of Canaan. Go to the land. Go to our ancestry and go pick a wife there. Let us make mine our image. Let them have dominion. Let them, them, not him. So dominion was not given to Adam, it was given to Adam and Eve. Marriage is crucial in dominion. One of the things that also counted against Esau was that he married wrongly. He married badly. I have known mighty men, men of power and dominion, but they lost it. By the grace of God, when we come back after break, I'll be talking about the process by which dominion is lost. How dominion is lost. It can be lost. Men of mighty anointing, powerful anointing, but they are wrong wife. When you are talking of dominion, please also think too, it's a partnership. Marriage is involved. It's crucial. Marriage is a vehicle of dominion. And it was through those services that Jacob got his marriage and he got his business. And he became a man, a mighty man of dominion. Service is important. He served Laban 20 years service with all his strength, with all his might. Faithful service. Yes, Jacob could be a cheater, but he served. Nobody can deny that. Behind any story of dominion is also a story of service. Diligent service. A responsible service. Honest labor. Look at David. He served diligently his own father first, Jesse, faithfully. Dominion comes through service. There's a question that I used to ask, and I don't know whether anybody is asking it. How come that when Samuel got to the house of Jesse, all the other brothers were at home? Only David was with the flock in the wilderness. Why? You know, in the case of Jacob, it was a difference, a contrary thing. It was the other brother who was with the sheep, and Joseph, the younger, was at home. But now in the house of Jesse, the reverse is the case. All the other brothers were at home, and David, the youngest, was with the sheep. Is that how it should be? What were the others doing at home? Does it also occur to you that when Jacob first got to the land of Haran, the very first person that met him was Rachel with the flock of his father, of her father? Now, where was Leah when Rachel kept the sheep? Did you see? Where was Leah? What was Leah doing when Rachel kept the sheep? So Rachel was a person of responsibility, even though he was the youngest. And there was no wonder that Jacob said, this is the person I want to marry. Did you see what I'm saying? Because he was the very first person that he met. Where was Leah? What was Leah doing at home? That Rachel, the younger girl, was keeping sheep. That it was Rachel who was going out. And he was the one going out. So he was also the one who met the young man, the bachelor that was looking for a wife. This is another one thing. People miss it. Women miss it. I don't have a husband. And nobody has proposed to me. Have you gone to where they can see you? Where bachelors can see you? You are at home cooking day and night, reading in your father's library day and night. No, you have to go out. You have to launch out. Be responsible. Rachel was keeping sheep. What was Leah doing? Jacob was the one. David was the one keeping the flock in the wilderness. He was the one fighting lions and bears. What were Shammah, Eliab, and all his other brothers? What were they doing? For God's sake. And so when the day of the anointing came, the one who went out, I told you, dominion comes with going out. The one who went out. When I read that, when I saw that paper, call for paper by Anna, I could have ignored it just in the newspaper. I could have just ignored that money and continue. But I took it. I sent a paper. And one thing led to another. I said, please come and deliver this paper. And then I went out. Only launch out into the deep. If you are going to catch big fishes, you have to launch out into the deep. They are not in shallow water. You won't find them there. And then I deliver it, and the whole thing erupted. And the invitation began to come here and there. Come to our school, come and give us paper. That is how it works. Rachel was keeping sheep while Leah sat at home. And so Rachel was also the one who met a husband, a man looking for a husband. Looking for a wife. And so he was the one too that was married. David was the one keeping sheep while her elder brother was sitting at home. And so when the day of the anointing came, when the priest, the prophet came, it was the one who had told that God said, because that's the one who has responsibility. A responsibility leads to greater responsibility. When you are faithful in one, you are promoted to the next. My son who just spoke, who led us in prayer, the last time I knew him and whatever, he was a deputy director general. He told me he's a palm sec now. I've been praying. I'm praying for him. So as you are faithful in one, you move to another level. Professor Yowale was the vice chancellor. By God's grace today, he's now the secretary of African University all over Africa. So it is like that. One faithfulness and one responsibility will lead to an higher. If somebody is looking for somebody, it is the person who is asked or who is busy that they will, not the person who is idle. All these things are in the Bible and they matter, but we don't usually take note of them. Jacob was asking, where is the house of Laban? They said, don't worry, his daughter is coming with his flock. And Jacob was waiting eagerly, and it was Rachel. And don't forget the law of first attraction. So they met and they bonded immediately. And he said, this is the person I want as wife. Now, who is it? You have been praying for a husband. Leah was praying and you are at home. Nobody saw you. Jacob came, he did not see you. He said, how then will a husband come? And dominion is condition of marriage on who you marry. These are the things. Go out. Serve. That Rachel was keeping the flock shows responsibility. The father could entrust her with the flock. A lady, because he doesn't have boys, he doesn't have male children, maybe. At her age, she could manage, she could keep the flock. While Leah was there, whatever she was doing. Jacob, the youngest, could keep the flock. Responsibility. Anointing comes to somebody who has responsibility. A responsibility. That's the key to dominion. Responsibility. And on that day, he could say, thy servant has killed the lion, thy servant has killed the bear, and this Goliath shall be one of them. None of his elder brother, Eliab or Shammah or whatever, has killed lion. None of them has even killed a python. Because probably they were not in responsibility enough. They were at home with their father Jesse, while they are youngest. And the day dominion was to descend, the day the sword of dominion was to descend, it was to go to that boy, that little boy with responsibility. Don't miss it on this ground. Service, don't play with it. Don't play with responsibility. Anytime a service is given to you, see it as from God. It's not a man could be used to instigate it, but it is God himself that is giving you that service. Deliver it diligently. Another error, let me correct this error. They have taught you that there is one secular, there is one sacred. That preaching is sacred, Abi, and this one is secular vocation. Is this is a aralele? It's a oluwale. There is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. Engineering is secular work. Medical doctor is secular work. This one is secular. All work, all legitimate work is God's work. Whatever builds humanity, whatever strengthens humanity, whatever helps and strengthens humanity, helps their knowledge, helps them to grow, helps them whatever, is God's work. The doctors that are fighting diseases, they are doing God's work in their own way. Of course, I don't need them. But at my level, I know something better than that. But at least for those who do not know, who need that thing to survive. The engineers who build the road, they are doing God's work. There is nothing like God's work, secular work. No, there is nothing like that. All work, all legitimate work is God's work. If that is your calling, you are doing God's work. Whether you are in civil service or whatever, it is God's work. Do it diligently as unto the Lord. That is the calling. That is the Christian theology. Whether it's a bookshop that you are running, it is God's work. If that is your calling. Whether it is food that you are selling, and that is your goal, and you run a restaurant, through that you are training children, whatever, that is God's work. Whether it is farming, it is God's work. All legitimate work is God's work. And let me also shock you with another fact. Everybody that God calls in the Bible, everyone that God calls in the Bible, He called them from the place of their work, from their place of their vocation, from the place of the assignment. Moses was called while he was tending the flock of Jethro. Amos was called while he was gathering fruit. James and John were called while tending their net. Peter and Andrew was called while casting their net. Everyone was called from the place of their work. So God follows work. David was called for anointing while he was keeping his father's flock. So don't play with service. Don't play with work. God watches. There are records. I told you there are watchers in heaven. In the book of Daniel, he said Nebuchadnezzar will go into the self because this is according to the decree of the watchers. And the decree by the holy ones. To the intent that you may know that the Messiah ruled in the affairs of men. There are record keepers over there. There are angels that are watchers. They record the actions and the activity of men. Everything you do daily, they are recorded. Please work. He cannot promote many of us because we are not workers. Work. Serve. Be responsible. That's the root of dominion. Let's look at Mordecai and Esther. Another people who contacted dominion on the earth. You saw how Mordecai was loyal to King Ahasuerus. When people plotted to kill Ahasuerus, he quickly reported to the king. Because that's why he was there as a gate man. He did not cover it up. He exposed it. That's part of faithfulness. Do you see today? We are now surrounded by bandits. All our forests are surrounded because somebody refused to do his work. Because somebody was there as a head of state for 8 years and he felt that it's not Nigeria that elected, that his responsibility was to his ethnic nationality. That we are now surrounded. I wrote an article some days ago that is causing bitterness and revolution. Keep on praying for me. The battle is going to be long, but the Lord got himself the victory. I wrote an article some times ago, recently, maybe last week or this week, about generals and sheep. You are not even a sheep, people. You are paying bandit now. That's where we have descended. And somebody took that article. I did not know how it got to his hand. I took that and sent it to all the generals. The head of state. He sent to Babangida. He sent to Obasanjo. He sent to Absalom. He sent to all the other generals. And he told me another at least 50 senior professors. All of them. And the thing as the last time I saw it forwarded many times that gunfire everywhere. They have called me from the east. They have called me. And then a lieutenant colonel, a retired colonel in Kaduna, he sent to me the response of some generals to the article. Okay. And the argument going on among them. Okay. Condemnation, whatever. Well, I have done what I am to do as a writer. It's part of my it's part of my work. Now, don't just think I tell people. I don't just write. I write when the Spirit of God trigger me to say something. I'm too busy. I'm writing few books now that I want to present in my coming body. So I'm extremely busy. So if you see me that is Saturday and it's currently written, you know there is something to say. The Spirit inside me is going to say something. Don't keep quiet when you have a voice. It's what has led us here in Nigeria. Mordecai saw that the king was about to be eliminated and he sanctified him. That's his work. As a security, as a spy, as an intelligence officer, that's his work. Today, nobody is faithful in anything. A general now responded to my article very, very, scholarly response, and said that I was referring to, after accusing me and everything, he said it's not the purpose of generals to fight. That is colonel and major who used to do the fighting. Generals only plan the strategy. That was ignorant and whatever, so on and so forth. And luckily, a lieutenant colonel answered him. The thing were posted to me by this army officer, this retired. And the lieutenant colonel answered and said, Oga, it's not like you are. Yes, it's true that colonel and major and colonel who fight. But who planned the strategy? Who deployed the soldier? Who deployed soldiers to which? Okay, this is the number of soldiers that will follow. Who is it not the generals? Who apportioned the resources, the funds? Is it not the generals? Is that the reason why today all our forests are now surrounded? Why we have an army? What this professor is saying, what he has written is correct. Another colleague answer him like, just do your own. Nigeria is like this because for a long time, some of us refused to do our own part. Do your own part. If writing is your own, do it. If it is speaking, do it. Mordecai did not keep quiet. He certified the king. There is a plot, and it was neutralized. As at that time, he did not know that even our own sister, our own nephew, or whatever, or niece, or whatever, is coming to the kingdom. He was doing his own service, and that thing was recorded in his name. One of the things where we are missing it today is that there is no faithfulness in service today in Nigeria anywhere. Soldiers are not faithful to soldiers. Teachers are not faithful. When I hear story today of what is happening in our university today, I'm marveled. And they too are justifying it. They have seen exploitation outside. So why can't they exploit students too? It's so sad. Have you noticed today that if you are looking for youth today, even for bricklaying, artisan, things like that, carpenter or whatever, people are now going to Benin Republic, to Niger Republic, to bring artisan. Because no Nigeria, your Nigeria, your children into Yahoo. They are not into Okada, that quick money they can spend and spend one day. Nobody is worried about skill. The mechanic that used to repair my vehicle, I was with him one day, an elderly man from Abeokuta, very, very nice guy, very experienced mechanic. He will do that thing. How he could still do that, my vehicle is amazing. Very experienced. More than 44 years of experience. And he was still the one climbing on that. So I asked him, why don't you have, how come you don't have a plan? He now laughed. He said they are not ready. They are not ready to learn. No apprentice will come again. They prefer now to get Okada and get quick money. You see the problem we have in Nigeria? By the time those generation now passes, we have problem. There will be nobody to repair your car. No privilege again. Your churches are talking about money. So everybody now is into Okada, right? Or into Yahoo. Young men who should be learning a trade, a skill. As a result of that, this man is fully engaged. If you call him today that you have for your car, you have to wait. How will I park that car wherever you have to park? Because he's the only one. In a nation where there are many youths roaming about and no government is doing anything about it. No skill is being imparted. Is that how dominion is gained? Tell me, is that how dominion is acquired? I was with a DVC of one of the first generation universities who is our member on this platform, and we were designing. He told me the situation of the university today. He said in a particular department, okay, in a particular department, they only have masters now. I mean, people with master's degree, all the PhD they have gone. That the remaining professor, they didn't go because they will retire this year. So in other words, they say, if nothing happens, they have to close that department in the first generation university. No privilege again. No apprenticeship. And you want to build a nation. No knowledge impartation again. Everybody is in the quick money. Ministers are breaking away. No minister who don't know theology, who don't know anything to start their own church too and go solo. No, dominion is attained by service. You have to serve a master. You have to acquire skill under somebody. After service, the next thing is assuming responsibility. This is how dominion is gained or lost. A responsibility. When you have now been entrusted, you have served. So you are now entrusted with everything. It's now here. How faithful are you? You must accept responsibility and you must discharge it faithfully. You remember the house of Eli? Yes, they belong to the tribe of Levi, right? But they introduced falsehood into the priesthood. They introduced corruption. They introduced immorality. Not Eli himself, but his children. They introduced immorality. They introduced corruption to the sacrifice of God. It's so bad that men deplored the offering of God. And Eli did not do anything to his children. And God said, okay, did I straightway appear to your father's house when you left Egypt to be my servant? When Israel turned again from God, turned away from God. Okay, today I also say that nobody in your household again will be a priest before me. Hey, don't play with God. Don't try it. Don't try it. When the children of Israel turned away, even the priests turned away, there was the house of Sadok, the sons of Sadok, who remained faithful to God. And God said they will be the one to stand before me. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 44. The sons of Sadok who refused to turn away. When Israel turned away to the idol and their priests too. As for those priests who are also serving them before the idol, let them continue to serve them in the outer court. But for the sons of Sadok who are faithful to my injunction, to my covenant, they will stand before me. They will stand before me. The house of Eli was rejected. They lost dominion. They mismanaged the service of God. Responsibility. They fail in the area of responsibility. Responsibility. You must have heard the story of Peter Pan, our own Peter Enauru. How he became an editor, the youngest editor at the age of 28, 25 in this nation, of Daily Times for that matter. A responsibility. He told us the story. Yes, it is luck. But luck happens when success meets preparation, when faithfulness meets responsibility, when responsibility meets faithfulness. You can say the person is lucky. Yes, he is. He told the story. He said one day he was in the newsroom just as a reporter. He had only secondary education. In those days, so of course, in the 60s. Only secondary education. But if you hear his grammar, my brother, if you read his book, Peter Pan, his construction, his command of English, the graduate of today will be ashamed. So he said he was in the vessel, always doing some bit. Always doing, and the editor or the assistant editor want to go and leave. They did not say that. So he said the MD just came to the newsroom and said, who is there? And he was there. Peter Pan. He said, who's that? He said, Peter Pan is there. And he said, come. The sub editor or the assistant editor is going on leave. We just discovered he sent this letter. So you'll be the sub editor or acting editor before. He has never done it. And he did it. And he took the responsibility. And he began. Before you know it, the same daily times that these wicked people have now destroyed. And he took the responsibility. Before you know, he did it so well that the person, the editor who was supposed to resume said, sorry, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. Probably it was a white man. I'm not coming back. And he did so marvelously that the MD said, okay, continue. You can see irresponsibility. He became an editor of a national newspaper at the age of 25. Manage responsibility. Build up yourself now because opportunity is coming. Read wide, study wide. What do you do with your time? Take time to read, study. Sincerely speaking, I'm not despising anybody, but I'm amazed. Even when I hear some of the leaders of Christian church in this nation, leaders, when they talk, I laugh. Take time to study. Your opportunity will come. God said, whom shall I send? Who will go for us? Responsibility. And Isaiah had it. And he said, here am I, send me. Dominion come when heaven makes a request and somebody from the heart answer to take up the responsibility.